Welcome back, fellow geeks. Now, this week we have some very exciting new projects to talk about, along with a couple other lists from people like Amazon and 3D Hubs. So, stay tuned to find out a lot more about these exciting projects and what is going on with 3D Hubs and Amazon. Now, first off this week, as printers grow in size to accommodate the demand for large print volumes, there seems to be a trend for smaller, cheaper printers, which you see companies like PocketMaker, Robo3D, and M3D trying to cater to. But there's a printer that was recently uploaded on Indiegogo that seems to be taking a prize in this battle, introducing the PocketMaker. Now, the PocketMaker is currently on Indiegogo selling for $99. This is a small pocket-sized printer that can run off a smartphone or a USB connection and can print any third-party filament along with PocketMaker's small mini spools, which are currently running for $2.60 on their Indiegogo campaign, which seems to be the set price for when this hits the market. Now, the printer also has an easily detachable hot end for easy transportation and replacement to help out when you experience jams in your hot end. Now, if fully funded, the PocketMaker is scheduled to hit the market around June 2017 for $150. Currently on Indiegogo, with almost $41,000 raised, or 58% of their targeted $70,000 campaign. Now, to back this awesome mini printer, check out the link below to their Indiegogo and to read their full description. Now, I will include the entire link down in the description of this video. Now, next this week we have Amazon's October sales chart. This chart is interesting as we start to move towards the holidays and especially Black Friday coming up, as we will get to see whose sales take off and flop in next month's chart. Now, one thing that makes me skeptical about this chart is that most people, in my opinion, who are looking for a prosumer or higher end 3D printers such as Zortrax, Airwolf, and BCN 3D are not exactly buying their printers on Amazon, and they tend to start to go through the manufacturer and even resellers. So, kind of makes me interested to see who exactly is purchasing these printers, as they tend to be the lower to intermediate printers. Now, onto the actual chart, we see another jump in Robo3D R1 Plus sales as they came up to 12 from 17 in last month's chart, which continues to slightly puzzle me as they just released their R2 and C2 models, which are set to hit the market early 2017 with pre-orders currently going on. So it'll be interesting to see if they climb in the holidays as it gets closer to the release of the R2 and C2 models. Now, another change in the list is between 1 and 2. Last month we saw the Monoprice Maker Select Mini at number 1 and their Maker Select Kit at number 2, which have now flipped to round off the top of the Maker Select Mini. At 3 you have the Flash Forge Creator Pro and the Flash Forge Finder, which are two really nice middle of the market printers, and they seem to be very solid for people trying to get into the market, especially with the dual-headed Creator Pro. Now you have other printers such as the Lootspot Taz 6 and at number 6, and a few different XYZ printing DaVincis. Now, another thing that actually I'm kind of skeptical about is at number 9 you have the 3D Systems Cube 3D printer, as that's something that's kind of fallen off the market, with 3D Systems ending their lower end printers and starting to cater to more of the high professional end. Now, further down you have the Lootspot Mini at 13, followed by the Maker Gear M2 and the RipRap Guru Prusa i3. Now, there are some interesting printers on here, some that I haven't heard of, and some like the MakerBot Replicator Plus towards the end, with Dremel following out the list with their Idea Builder at 24 and their Idea Builder 2.0 at 25. So it's definitely interesting to see where some of these printers stack up, and kind of hints back at my earlier suggestion that most people tend to buy their prosumer and higher end printers through the resellers and not exactly on Amazon. Now next this week we have another list, this one coming from 3D Hubs, which is their annual 3D print list, which covers an area of different printers from prosumer, workhorse, budget, plug and play, and SLS printers. Now, 3D Hubs does a really good job at forming this list and ranking out printers, as this is a total between almost all of their hubs, which I feel like is the best place to get some of your reviews from, as it is very simple, quick questions, and easy to fill out survey, which gives you plenty of information. Now, the first on this list is the prosumers, which you have printers around the $2,000 mark on average. You have the Ultimaker 2 Plus, the Form 2, and the Zortrax M200. Now, it'll be interesting next year in the 2018 3D print list to see if the Ultimaker 3 makes it to the top of the list in the prosumer category, as it just came out, so it doesn't exactly have enough time to get out there and be readily available to the market. Now, another one that would be very interesting to see where it falls in the 2018 list will be the Zortrax M300, as that, again, hasn't had much time out in the market and hasn't been around long enough to really rank in these yet. But the Form 2 is interesting, as I've heard a lot of pros and cons about the Form 2. Well, it's nice to see a resin printer somewhere in the prosumer category. Now, next is the Workhorse, which has a price range between $900 to $3,000. Now, the 900 is the FlashForge Creator Pro, which is a dual-headed printer, up to the BCN 3D Sigma, which is another dual-headed but is a independent dual nozzle printer at the $3,000 mark. Now, you have your other two printers in here is your MakerGear M2 and your LuteSpot Taz 6, which is another printer which has been about for about 6 months, so it's interesting to see this one jump the Taz 5 and replacing this in the Workhorse list. Now, I do have experience with the Taz 6, and I'm really not surprised that it has made its way up to the Workhorse printer category, as they are kind of hard to break, but once you break them, it is kind of hard to fix. Now, your next category in this list is the budget, which on average has come around $700. First off on this one, you have the Prusa Research Prusa i3 Mark II, which I've known a lot of people to assemble this kit, and a lot of people have not had a single problem with it. And I found, being open source, Prusa is a very nice printer to get your hands on if you're starting out in the intermediate area and you want to build your own printer with the possibility of upgrading in the future. Now, a printer that I have assembled myself in other forms has come in at number 2, and that is the CME CNC Rostock Max. Now, this is the only Delta printer anywhere in any of their 5 categories, so it's nice to see Delta make it somewhere, and this one is the Rostock version. Now, a lot of people have had really great things to say about the CME CNC printers and their entire line, as they have recently come out with a resin printer. Now, there haven't been a lot of negative things about them, so I'm quite honestly happy to see them on here, as they are towards the $1,000 mark and not the average $700. Now, next on here is the PrinterBot Simple Metal, which is also nice to see. They are a great printer for your classrooms type settings and the lower end printers trying to get your hand into the market. It's a really nice printer, something I would recommend for classrooms. Now, for the final category, you have your plug and play, which comes in around $1,200. First off, you have your Craft Unique CraftBot Plus, followed by the LuteSpot Mini, and rounded out by the Cell Robox. Now, these are all kind of great printers. I haven't had much of an opportunity to play around with any of these. LuteSpot has the name, so you know a lot of people like to flock to that, as they have a really strong following. So it's nice to see them on 2 of the categories. Now, finally on this list is the SLS category, which they only have one printer in this time, and it's the EOS P396, which is a top-of-the-line printer coming in around $250,000 in the US. Really not much I could say about this. I don't have any experience, and quite honestly, I've never heard of it before this list. So if you're interested, I'm going to leave a link in the description below so you can look into this. Now, again, I just want to say 3D Hubs does a really good job at putting this list together, soliciting all the people, all the hubs that interact with 3D Hubs on a daily basis, which I'm happy to see they've really grown this much since joining and signing up for a hub a couple years ago. So it's really nice to see such recognition and such awarded printers on here. Now, to wrap up this episode of This Week in 3D Printings, we have another article by Local Motors, which has already brought us the 3D printed car, which can be printed in a single day. But now they're wowing us with a fully autonomous taxi-like bus. This bus is already in use in Las Vegas, Dade County, Florida, and Copenhagen. This is a new vehicle called Ollie, which costs 20% less standard public transportation and is estimated to have a 75% less impact compared to your standard transit. Now, General Motors has teamed up with IBM to use their Watson interface to not only dispatch buses through apps that its riders can access, but also greets them as they come on the bus, along with recommends shops and restaurants to visit. Now, this is very exciting to me to see this technology take off and flourish. As always, it's really only time can tell to see how well this is used in our standard daily lives. Now, there are some states such as California and other companies such as Google which are trying to use this technology, and we've actually found incidents with other companies of crashes and negative publicity. So it'd be very interesting if this really pushes us into that next century of technology, or if this gets shelved for later technology to come to make this safer, but only time will tell. Now that wraps up this episode of This Week in 3D Printing. As always, if you have any comments, please feel free to comment below. I'm going to leave all of my links and sources down in the description if you'd like to explore more into some of these very interesting subjects, especially a little more into this Local Motors car, as more information comes available for it. Now, if you've enjoyed this, please feel free to smash the like and subscribe button. It really does help me out, and it really helps me to know what everyone is looking for in these weekly videos. Now, until next time, keep printing.